Welcome to the Write Good Books podcast, the audio companion to WriteGoodBooks.com, with your host Jason Bougger.
And we're back for another episode of the Write Good Books podcast. I'm Jason, joined by our co-host Scott Michael Childers. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine.
Just doing fine. So, to start off this week, I want to say I've been working on a fantasy trilogy, and as part of that research, I go and I look for some of the common, you'll find lists online saying things to avoid when you're writing in certain genres. And one of the things that comes up quite a bit with fantasy is the prophecy/chosen one trope. Mm-hmm. And that must be a lot more common than I would have thought, because everywhere I read, they seem to pretty much hate it, or not hate it, or they'll just be tired of it. And then I think about it and I say, yeah, I could see why you'd be tired of that.
Yeah. And, depending on your point of view, a lot of what we've been seeing lately in popular culture have been chosen one stories. Harry Potter is one that comes to mind, and, some others. I'm sure we'll get into as the episode rolls along.
I'm trying to think. I think in episode 1 of Phantom Menace, I think they actually use the phrase chosen one to describe Anakin, don't they?
Yeah.
When Obi-Wan, on the end of episode 3, I remember Obi-Wan yelling, "You were supposed to be the chosen one!" And that was so forced to me. And,
nice pun, by the way, with the Star Wars.
Yes.
But I think what we're trying to get at is this chosen one, and it's a major story type, right? It's not like it's ever going to go away. Yeah. But the way it's handled has become kind of cliched in certain ways. Like I'm reading a book right now. I'm not going to tell you the story or tell you the title because I don't want to negatively affect your reading if you want to go read it. But like I'm only 20 pages in. And it's just like, wow, I'm getting hit over the head with the chosen one vibe. And I didn't get a chance to explore the world. I didn't get a chance to explore the other characters. It just seems like, here it is, and this person is the only one to save the world. They haven't said it outright yet. But, I mean, it just got, like, I don't get a chance to do any exploration.
Yeah, and if you don't know it's going to be that type of story, that could be a letdown as well. I mean, you want to get to you want to learn to know the character, grow with the character, and if you're told right away this character is the chosen one and he has to save the world, or she.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like now this story has become a little one-dimensional because I didn't get a chance to even grow to like, not even know this character.
Right, and if you're not invested in the world, who cares if the character has to save it?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, these are the types of things that make a bad chosen one story. Just kind of this pummeling you over the head with this is the chosen one, so no one else in the story really matters.
Right.
And nothing else in the world really matters because it's all about this one person being the secret sauce or anything.
And another problem with it is if you like an underdog story, you want to watch your character overcome obstacles and grow and change and progress with the plot that is thrown at that character. If you know that character is the one who's destined for greatness, is there a challenge for the character?
Yeah.
There is, I suppose, but not in the same sense as a hero's journey or an underdog story.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. A lot of these times you may be wanting a hero's journey, but instead, it's a chosen one, so that journey is somewhat meaningless. It's all destiny. We'll talk a little bit later about subverting the chosen one trope a bit. But, if your setup is just promising, well, this is the person, without giving you a chance to get invested in anything else, your readers aren't going to go along with you on that ride to see that twist from the chosen one trope, right? There's like, I'm already out. Unless they're a fan of that chosen one trope and they love that type of concept. But for a few readers, myself included, if I'm hit over the head with it, I'm tired of that. I have chosen one burnout. And I'm picking up books at random and it's chosen one, chosen one, chosen one. Like, come on, turn on the TV, movies, chosen one, chosen one, chosen one. So, what do you feel about it?
Yeah, I can't even think of a lot of good examples of it, but even just thinking about the ones I've seen, I don't really want to see that again. And now I'm sitting here trying to think, I hope my book wasn't like that, and I don't think it was.
Yeah, it probably was. No,
And then what I'm writing now, was that a chosen one? But it's not. But yeah, it's you see it everywhere, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, and there's sometimes the setup is sort of like hero's journey, like we're talking about. Someone goes through and you see growth.
Yeah.
And there's question on where they're going, right? It's not slam, here you are. But then it depends on how it's pulled off. Like, I want to say the character of Katniss with the Hunger Games, right? I think it was meant, and I'm going from the movies, because I think that's the more, the version most people are familiar with. I think it was supposed to be kind of this hero's journey, but certainly felt more like the chosen one. Everyone was saying, you're the one who has to be the face.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of real choices that Katniss really could have made. There's things where, yeah, you could argue she could have walked, but really she did not have she was on this one track and really did not have the autonomy to get out. Again, I'm going with the movie version. There's some differences with the print version.
Yeah, the character is, right from the start, destined for greatness, and the story is more of how it happened.
Yeah, and not really destined for greatness. Destined to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And again, I think they were trying to get a hero's journey vibe, but for me, it just seemed like, no, she could not make choices, because she was always put in cases where there was one choice, really.
Yeah.
And it felt forced, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, and that's a big problem, is that it feels forced to me. And so if you have a story where there's a prophecy for a hero, and then you have the story about the character who doesn't know they're that hero, and the story is how they become that hero, that's a little better than if they're told right away, you're the chosen one, and you're going to go on this journey to save the world. Or
Give us a chance to get to know.
Grow with the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're beat over the head that it's Anakin in the prequel series, but I didn't feel like we're beat over the head that it's Luke in the real series. I mean, we know he's the hero of the story, but they don't really use that same lingo that you're here to save us from the evil empire. Yeah,
it really felt more like a hero's journey, where Luke had a whole lot of say in the paths he took. It wasn't a ride on the rails for that story.
There wasn't anything super special about him other than the Force was in his family, and
even then, it really didn't make. He could have not gone. He could have stayed on Tatooine.
Yeah,
right?
He had to grow. He had to learn. He made choices.
Yeah.
So
he had agency.
Yeah.
Which is what someone, if you're doing a chosen one story and that person really has no agency, it's not going to be a good story, in my opinion. It's just following someone down a railroad. If they are a chosen one, but still has some agency, some choices that they can make on their own, and you feel like those are legitimate opportunities for that character to go one way or another, I think that's a much better way of handling those cases.
Yeah. It's like we've said before, you want your character to drive the plot and not just react to your story and kind of do what he's told to do.
Yeah. So let's talk about subverting this trope.
Let's, because that could be interesting.
Yeah. Like, for example, you're told early on that, fairly early on, that, hey, this character is a chosen one. You go through the story and then, oh, no, not really. It's that person that has been following you is really the chosen one. We just told it was you because you were the stronger one, or so you might get captured so the other one could get through. I mean, you can do all sorts of subverting, assuming you set it up. Like, if you have a prophecy, you have this really obvious choice, but then there's all other interpretation, and you get to know both characters. I think that, that's sort of Oh, what's the book I'm looking for? I knew I should have written it down. I read it a few years ago, but they did did that thing. It was sort of like, hey, you're like Bilbo Baggins type of thing. You are the chosen one, and then the big situation happens. Like, no, not you. It's really this person over here. Your job is actually to protect them. You have been chosen to protect the real chosen one.
Okay. And that's, how do you say it? Why do writers and screenwriters feel this is even necessary to have a so-called chosen one? Why can't it just be a protagonist, a hero who saves the day? Why does it have to be someone who's destined for it? Is this something readers demand? Where did this trope even develop?
Gee, I don't think we have
the Old Testament, I suppose, but
I don't know if we have time for that type of discussion.
I guess why, as a writer today, is there any reason to even use this trope?
Okay, so like if you build it correctly and still allow the chosen one some agency and choices, I think it does set up motivations.
Yeah.
And it can create conflicts if the chosen one doesn't want to be the chosen one, right? But in that case, they still have to have some agency that keeps them moving forward.
Yeah.
Or whatever their choices are, it still puts them closer to their destiny, right? So there are still some of those stories, or even dealing with the knowledge that they are the chosen one. That's a lot of weight to put on a character in some cases. And so you're exploring that. It becomes more of a character piece. So there are things you can do with that trope still. But again, a lot of that comes down to execution.
Right.
And some of it is, we want to do a hero's journey, but the reason we're doing a hero's journey is this person is chosen. Well, then it's not really a hero's journey, right? You're not showing the growth and acceptance and becoming a hero. You're being told you're a hero from day one. Now just go through the motions. But I do think that you can use this trope still, but again, execute it with exploring what that means. What do their choices do? Maybe subvert it by having the chosen one not be your main character.
Right. Or, any trope can be used if you do it well.
Yeah.
And as long as you show character growth and as long as the character is real, I think maybe that's a part of the problem people have with this trope, is that it makes the character too strong or unbelievable.
Here's an example. Neo in the Matrix series. First movie, you have someone who really believes he's the chosen one. Some people don't think so. Some people do. And so you're spending a good amount of time figuring that out, right? You're given a reason to care. And then all that while you are seeing the situation that the chosen one is supposed to fix. So you are seeing the impact on what if he really is. That first Matrix movie really does, I think, a good way of handling the chosen one trope.
Yeah.
And I think it adds it to the hero's journey a little bit, because Neo has to make he has to choose if he's even starting that path or not. He has some agency. He's not sure if he is or not, so he's exploring that. Now, for the other two movies, I'm not getting into those.
They didn't happen.
That first one, right? I think that's a really good chosen one trope.
And then was it even necessary to use that trope for that movie?
And it might have just been a prop.
Yeah.
The name chosen one.
Could if he stumbled on that accidentally and I don't know.
They still needed a character that was able to manipulate things differently than everyone else. There was going to be a special person.
Yeah. Was that a crutch to pull him into the plot?
I don't think so. Not for that one.
That first one.
Yeah. But, there have been other cases where we need a special person to fix this. No, not really. You just need someone to do things.
Right.
And so I think that's part where we also have problems with the chosen one is, do we really need a certain someone with certain skills, a power?
Right, because if it could be anybody, then why have a chosen one?
Right, then it should be a hero's journey.
And a writer thinks, well, I'm writing fantasy, so I have to have a prophecy and I have to have a chosen one, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does feel forced or thrown in. So, we're probably out of time, but I want to say real quick, I kind of like this trope theme, so we'll do a few more on this next week. 2 weeks, whenever, next time.
Yeah, we'll revisit some tropes.
Yes. And we're always open to feedback if you have any you'd like us to discuss. So until then, your homework is to watch The Matrix and let us know if you think it falls nicely, if they do a good job with this trope or not.
The Matrix, the Hunger Games, Harry Potter, all the movies. No, just kidding. Just no. If you did that, you have chosen poorly.
Yeah. So we'll sign out then.
Thank you for making us your chosen podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. If you'd like to support us, you can visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/writegoodbooks. And you can check us out on the web and leave some feedback at writegoodbooks.com/podcast. Thank you and see you next time.
See ya.